The Putinization of America, who's driving America now and why are the rest of us gagged in the trunk while the billionaires floor it? And, you know, what happens when a country stops pretending to care about democracy and just lets the billionaires run wild? If you want to know, just look at Vladimir Putin's Russia. This is a place where wealth buys protection, loyalty buys power, and corruption isn't hidden, it's institutionalized. And now under Donald Trump's return to power and Elon Musk's tightening grip on federal spending and a Republican Party entirely beholden to dark money, America is no longer just flirting with that model of governance. We're fast becoming it. This is, Musk's Doge team is trying to free up $1 trillion in federal spending to help pay for the tax cuts for billionaires that will be coming to a legislature near you in the next, the federal legislature in the next few weeks or maybe days, as people have canceled hundreds of billions of dollars in federal contracts and programs. At the same time, Elon Musk's SpaceX just got $5.9 billion of your and my tax dollars. So, this is an old story. Wealthy people help their friends acquire political power. Then those friends use that political power to make the morbidly rich even richer. And along the way, the politicians end up wealthy themselves. It's a form of governance called kleptocracy. Russia, for example, is one of the world's most corrupt developed nations. Scholars estimate as much as 25% of Russia's GDP is routinely funneled to oligarchs in tight with Putin, as well as to Putin himself, who now has an estimated personal wealth of $200 billion. So as long as oligarchs toe Putin's political line and continue to provide him with kickbacks and fees and gifts and campaign contributions, he makes sure the Russian government facilitates the success of their businesses and looks the other way from the harms they're inflicting on the environment or on the Russian people. And when people point it out, they pay a terrible price. Alexei Navalny pointed out massive corruption and kickbacks from Gazprom and Rosneft and created the Foundation for Fighting Corruption. First he was poisoned, then he was imprisoned, then he was murdered. Russian attorney Sergei Magnitsky discovered a $230 million tax fraud that was going on with Putin's friends. He was murdered. Mikhail Khodorkovsky was the CEO of Yukos, one of the big oil companies, and when he started talking about how, he was being pressured to be corrupt with Putin, he suddenly ended up in prison. Hungary, same deal. Before the 2010 election of Viktor Orban, Hungary was considered one of the most up-and-coming of the former Eastern European nations, with great schools, hospitals, thriving entrepreneurial class, growing middle class. But 15 years of naked corruption has made Orban into a billionaire, or at least a multi-millionaire. But Hungary now has one of the lowest levels of productivity in Eastern Europe. Schools and hospitals are collapsing under the weight of demands for bribes and kickbacks. And most all of the nation's major businesses have been seized by pro-Orban oligarchs who then strip them of their assets and share that wealth with Orban. As Ann Applebaum, just absolutely brilliant reporter, says, quote, some 20% of Hungarian companies operate not on market principles, not on merit-based principles, but basically on loyalty to Orban. So this is the road that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are traveling and dragging America with them and the American working class. And it's grounded in Reagan's trash-talking American government and the Supreme Court's Buckley decision in 76, Bellotti decision in 78, Citizens United in 2010, McCutcheon in 2013. And so the result of this, this is how this foundation for Trump's corruption goes back 40 years and was established by corrupt, bought-off Republicans on the U.S. Supreme Court, who repeatedly proclaimed, by the way, that their decisions that money is speech and corporations are persons would not lead to corruption. It came right out and said that in the decisions, particularly in Citizens United. And John Paul Stevens, in his dissent in Citizens United, just literally laughed at that. Well, not literally, figuratively, laughed at that. And so now what do we see? We see a steady stream of CEOs and the leaders of other countries making a pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago to hand Donald Trump million-dollar checks in exchange for private dinners. The three richest men in America who own more wealth than the bottom 190 million of us stood with him on the stage when he was inaugurated. His cabinet has 13 billionaires. It's the richest in American history. When Jimmy Carter told me 9 years ago on this program President Carter said, "America is now an oligarchy with unlimited political bribery." That's a verbatim quote. I don't think he believed that it would get this bad. I don't think he imagined that it could get this bad. But here we are. And now Trump is going after the attorneys who challenge him. The lawyer for that University of Michigan student who was arrested last year for protesting Israel's treatment of Gaza. The lawyer, the guy's a U.S. citizen. He was returning from a spring break trip in the Dominican Republic with his wife and his 2 kids. They just, went down, spent a week in a resort down there. And he's coming home, and he gets stopped at the Detroit airport, and Customs and Border Protection wants to see his phone. He told the Financial Times, he said, "This current administration is doing something that no administration has done before. They are attacking attorneys." And we're seeing these police state tactics popping up all over the place in America. America is devolving into a corrupt police state, and corrupt government and police state governments always go together. You can't have one without the other. The police state aspect is necessary to maintain the corruption, and the corruption fuels the police state aspect of it. And this is obviously why Trump suspended enforcement of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, the law that says that federal officials can't get rich, cozying up to corrupt foreign dictators. I mean, Trump wants to do what Putin and Orban are doing every day. And so now he's slapping tariffs on countries. And those countries are illegally, by the way. The Constitution says only Congress has the power to do this. But, we've seen a $50 trillion transfer of wealth since Reagan started this whole scam of give me campaign contributions and I'll give you deregulation and tax cuts. $50 trillion has been extracted from the homes, the retirement plans, the checking accounts and savings accounts of middle-class families and transferred into the money bins of the top 1%. And, Orban and Putin have to be just drooling at this. This is why Warren Buffett moved $334 billion with a B into cash as Trump was becoming president. He's seen this movie before. He knows that 10 out of the last 11 recessions were brought to us by Republican presidents. Why? Because really rich people make a hell of a lot of money during a recession. So what we're seeing is the fleecing of America right now. And this kleptocratic, blueprint that gutted nations like Russia and Hungary is now being followed right here in Washington, D.C., or right there in Washington, D.C. Only the rich win in a system like this. And if Americans don't wake up to this scam soon, we may find ourselves living in a country where corruption isn't just tolerated like right now. It's both official and permanent policy.